The stars looked different when you were carrying medicine to dying people. Captain Park Dae-ho stared out the main window of the cargo ship Soul's Pride as it moved through space toward the Kepler 442 system. Behind him, the ship hummed quietly, with the sounds of engines and computers working together. "Captain, we're about to drop out of hyperspace," said Kim So-ra from her seat at the navigation controls. Her fingers moved quickly over the bright buttons and screens. She had been flying ships for 10 years, but this trip felt different. The medicine they carried could save thousands of lives on the outer colonies. "Good work, Sora. Bring us out nice and easy," Park said. He was a big man with kind eyes and gray hair. He had been flying cargo ships for 20 years. Most of the time, he carried food, tools, or building materials. This time was special. The medical supplies in their cargo hold were worth more than gold. Lee Jin-woo looked up from his engineering station. "Captain, all systems are running perfectly. The quantum core is stable, and we have full power to all sections." Jin-woo was young but very smart. He could fix anything on the ship and often made improvements that surprised even the shipbuilders. "Thank you, Jin-woo. Hye-jin, any messages from the colonies?" Park asked. Choi Hye-jin shook her head. She sat at the communications desk, wearing headphones and watching several screens at once. "Nothing yet, Captain, but we're still too far away. Once we get closer, I should be able to contact the colony directly." Yoon Tae-min stood near the back of the bridge. As security chief, he always seemed ready for trouble. He was tall and strong, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Captain, I don't like traveling alone out here. We should have had an escort." Park nodded. "I know, Tae-min, but the colonies needed this medicine fast. Every day we waited meant more people might die. Sometimes you have to take risks to help others." The ship shook slightly as it dropped out of hyperspace. Through the main window, they could see a yellow star in the distance with several planets around it. One of those planets was their destination, where sick colonists waited for the medicine that could save their lives. "We're in normal space now, Captain," So-ra reported. "All systems are normal. We should reach the colony in about 6 hours." "Perfect." Jinwoo, run a full check on all systems. Hee-jin, try to contact the colony and let them know we're here. Tae-min, scan the area for any other ships. Park sat down in his captain's chair and relaxed for the first time in days. But his relaxation did not last long. "Captain!" Tae-min called out, his voice sharp with worry. "I'm reading massive energy signatures all around us. Multiple ships, very large ones." Park sat up straight. "How many ships?" "I count. Captain, this can't be right. I'm reading over. 200 ships, all around us. They're huge, much bigger than anything humans have built." So-ra's hands flew over her controls. "Confirmed, Captain. We're completely surrounded. The ships are arranged in a perfect sphere around us. There's no way out." Suddenly, the space around them filled with light. Ships began appearing everywhere. They looked. They were unlike any human ships Park had ever seen. They were dark and angular with sharp points and glowing red lights. Each ship was at least 5 times bigger than Soul's Pride. "My God," Hee-jin whispered. "Where did they come from?" "They were cloaked," Tae-min said, studying his screens. "Advanced cloaking technology. We never saw them coming." Park felt his heart beating fast, but he kept his voice calm. "Hye-jin, are they trying to communicate with us?" "Yes, Captain. I'm receiving a transmission on all frequencies. It's very strong. Put it on the main screen." The front window changed to show the inside of an alien ship. A creature sat in a large chair looking down at them. It had gray skin, 4 arms, and yellow eyes that glowed in the dark. When it spoke, Its voice was deep and cold. "Human ship, you are now prisoners of the Vortan hegemony. I am Admiral Kethvar of the Vortan fleet. You will surrender your ship immediately and prepare to be boarded." Park stood up slowly. "This is Captain Park Dae-ho of the human ship Souls. Pride! We are a medical transport carrying supplies to sick colonists. We mean no harm to anyone." The alien admiral laughed, a sound like metal scraping against stone. "Humans always claim to be peaceful. It does not matter. You have entered Vortan space without permission. Your ship and crew now belong to us." "We're in neutral space," Park said firmly. "This system isn't claimed by any government. All space belongs to the Vortan hegemony," the admiral replied. "We take what we want, when we want it. Your species is new to this galaxy. You do not understand how things work here." Taemin moved closer to Park. "Captain, I'm reading weapon signatures on all their ships. They have enough firepower to destroy a planet." The alien admiral continued talking. "You humans think you are special because you have learned to travel between stars. But you are nothing. We have conquered 47 species. Some fought, some surrendered. All became our slaves in the end." Sora turned to look at Park, fear in her eyes. "Captain, what do we do?" Park thought quickly. They were completely outnumbered. Their small cargo ship had no weapons and very little armor. Against over 200 warships, they had no chance in a fight. "Admiral," Park said to the screen, "we need time to consider your demands." "Consider?" The alien laughed again. "There is nothing to consider. Surrender now, or we will destroy your ship and take what we want from the wreckage. Please, we're carrying medicine that will save thousands of lives. Give us just a few minutes to discuss this with my crew." The admiral stared at Park for a long moment. "You amuse me, human. Very well. You have 30 minutes to say goodbye to each other. Then you will surrender or you will die. There is no other choice." The screen went dark. The bridge was quiet for several seconds. Finally, Hye-jin spoke. "Captain, what are we going to do?" Park looked at each member of his crew. These were good people who had families back on Earth. They had volunteered for this dangerous mission because they wanted to help others. "I don't know yet," Park said honestly. "But we're not giving up without a fight. Jin-Woo, I need you to analyze everything about those ships. Look for weaknesses, anything we can use. So-Ra, calculate every possible escape route, even if the chances are small. Hye-jin, monitor their communications. Maybe we can learn something useful. Taemin, check our defensive systems, even though I know we don't have much." "Yes, sir," they all said together. Park sat back down and stared out at the alien fleet surrounding them. Each ship was a floating fortress filled with weapons and soldiers. But somewhere in that impossible situation, there had to be a solution. There always was. Humans had survived ice ages, wars, plagues, and the journey to the stars. They had not come this far just to surrender to alien bullies. 29 minutes, Taemin announced quietly. Park nodded. "Then we better get to work." Outside the ship, the alien fleet waited in perfect formation. They had done this many times before with many different species. It always ended the same way. The aliens never imagined that this time might be different. They had never dealt with humans before. The Bridge of Soul's Pride was filled with the soft beeping of computers and the quiet breathing of 5 people who knew they might die in the next 28 minutes. Captain Park Dae-ho watched his crew work with steady hands, even though fear showed in their eyes. Lee Jin-woo's fingers moved quickly over his engineering controls. Numbers and charts filled his screens as he studied the alien ships around them. Captain, these ships are old but very powerful. Their hulls are made of some kind of metal I've never seen before. The energy readings suggest each ship has weapons that could cut our ship in half with one shot. What about their engines? Park asked. Very advanced. They use some kind of dark matter propulsion system, much faster than anything we have. Jin Woo paused and looked up. But Captain, there's something strange. All their ships are the same design, exactly the same. Every weapon, every engine, every system is identical. Kim So-ra turned from her navigation station. Captain, I've calculated every possible escape route. With their ships arranged in a perfect sphere around us, there's no gap larger than 50 meters. Our ship is 60 meters wide. Even if we could somehow slip through, their ships are faster than us. They would catch us in minutes. Yoon Tae-min shook his head as he studied the defensive systems. We have emergency shields and some basic hull armor, but nothing that could stop their weapons. We're a cargo ship, not a warship. We were built to carry things, not fight. Choi Hye-jin pressed her headphones closer to her ears. Captain, I'm picking up communications between their ships. The language is being translated by our computer, but some words don't translate well. What are they saying? Park asked. They're talking about us like we're animals. They keep using a word that translates to meat things or flesh bags. They're discussing how to divide our crew among their ships for something called processing. The blood drained from Park's face. Processing? I think it means slavery. Captain, or worse. They're also talking about our ship. They want to study our technology, especially our quantum core reactor. On the main screen, Admiral Kethvar appeared again. The alien's forearms moved as he spoke, making gestures that seemed threatening even across the language barrier. Human Captain, your time grows short, but I am feeling generous today. I will explain what will happen to you and your crew when you surrender. Park stood up. We're listening, Admiral. Your ship will be taken apart piece by piece. Our scientists will study your primitive technology. Your crew will be separated and sent to different work camps throughout our empire. The strong ones will dig in our mines. The smart ones will serve our scientists. The weak ones... The Admiral paused and showed what might have been a smile. The weak ones will not live long enough to worry about it. Ye-jin's hands shook slightly as she continued listening to the alien communications. She whispered to Park, Captain, they're also talking about Earth. They know where we came from. Park felt a chill run down his spine. What about Earth? They're calling it a fertile breeding ground. They want to go there next. They think humans would make good slaves because we're intelligent but not strong enough to fight them. The alien admiral continued his speech. Your species interests us, humans. You have built ships that can travel between stars, but you are still weak, perfect for our needs. After we finish with you, we will visit your home world. We will take your planet and everything on it. So-ra turned to Park with wide eyes. Captain, they're planning to invade Earth? It seems that way. Park kept his voice steady, but inside he felt sick. Earth had billions of people. Most of them had no idea that aliens even existed, let alone that they were planning an invasion. Tae-min checked his watch. 22 minutes left, Captain. Park walked to the front of the bridge and stared out at the alien fleet. Each ship was dark and menacing, floating in space like predators surrounding their prey. But something about their formation bothered him. Jin-woo, you said all their ships are exactly the same? Yes, Captain. Same size, same weapons, same everything. And they're arranged in a perfect sphere around us? Sora nodded. Perfect geometric spacing. Very precise formation. Park thought about this. In his 20 years of flying cargo ships, he had learned that very precise things often had unexpected weaknesses. How far away are the closest ships? About 2 kilometers in every direction, Sora answered. And the farthest ships? The sphere has a radius of approximately 10 kilometers, so the farthest ships are about 20 kilometers from us. Park turned to Jinwoo. Our quantum core reactor powers the entire ship, correct? Yes, Captain. It's the most advanced reactor humans have ever built. Very powerful and very stable. What would happen if it became unstable? Jinwoo looked confused. Sir, that's not possible. The quantum core has 17 different safety systems. It can't become unstable accidentally. But what if someone made it unstable on purpose? Jinwoo's face went pale as he understood what Park was asking. Captain, if the quantum core exploded, it would create a massive burst of energy. The explosion would be very large. How large? Jinwoo quickly typed numbers into his computer. At full overload, the blast radius would be approximately 15 kilometers in all directions. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone understood what Park was thinking. If their ship exploded, it would destroy every alien ship in the formation. Captain, Taemin said quietly, that would also destroy us. Yes, it would. Hee-Jin looked up from her communications station. Captain, I'm hearing more chatter from their fleet. They're not just planning to enslave Earth. They're discussing something called the Great Harvest. They want to take people from dozens of human colonies, millions of people. Park closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, his expression was determined. They're not just threatening us. They're threatening everyone we've ever cared about. Sora stood up from her station. Captain, there has to be another way. Some way we can escape and warn Earth. I've run the calculations 12 times, she replied sadly. There is no way to escape. Their ships are too fast, too numerous, and too well positioned. The alien admiral appeared on screen again. 15 minutes remaining, humans. I grow tired of waiting. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Continue to delay, and we will make you suffer before you die. Park looked at his crew. These were the best people he had ever worked with. They were smart, brave, and loyal. They deserved better than to die as slaves in alien work camps. Admiral, may I ask you a question? You may ask. I may not answer. How many species have you conquered? 47, as I told you before. Did any of them ever surprise you? The Admiral laughed. Surprise us? No, human. They all reacted the same way. First they tried to negotiate, then they tried to fight. Then they begged for mercy. In the end, they all became our slaves or they died. You will do the same. Park nodded slowly. Thank you for answering my question, Admiral. The screen went dark again. Taemin checked his watch. 14 minutes, Captain. Park turned to face his crew. Each of them was looking at him, waiting for orders. They trusted him to find a way out of this impossible situation. He wished he could. I need to tell you all something, Park said. In 14 minutes, we're going to die. All of us. The only question is whether our deaths will save anyone else. The crew exchanged glances, but no one spoke. If we surrender, we die as slaves, and Earth gets invaded. Millions of people will suffer the same fate as us. If we fight with our small ship against their fleet, we die quickly and Earth still gets invaded. Park paused and looked out at the alien ships again. But there is a third option. The silence on the bridge was heavy as Captain Park's words hung in the air. Li Jinwu was the first to speak, his voice barely above a whisper. "Captain, you're talking about overloading the quantum core on purpose." Park nodded. "That's exactly what I'm talking about. Jinwu, walk me through what would happen if we removed all the safety protocols." Jinwu's hands shook slightly as he pulled up the reactor schematics on his screen. "Sir, the quantum core contains enough energy to power our ship for 50 years. If we removed the safety systems and forced it to release all that energy at once, the explosion would vaporize everything within 15 kilometers. Sora finished quietly. "Including us," added Yun Tae-min. Park looked at each member of his crew. "Yes, including us. But it would also destroy their entire fleet. Over 200 warships that were planning to attack Earth and enslave our people." Choi Hye-jin pulled off her headphones and turned to face the group. "Captain, I've been listening to more of their communications. This isn't just a random patrol that found us. They've been planning the invasion of human space for months. This fleet was specifically sent to capture human ships and learn about our technology before the main attack." "How long do we have before they attack Earth?" Park asked. "Based on what I'm hearing, they're planning to move on human colonies within the next few weeks. Earth itself would be attacked within a few months." Taemin walked over to the weapons console, even though their ship had no real weapons. "Captain, Earth's defenses aren't designed to fight something like this. We have a few patrol ships and some orbital defense platforms, but nothing that could stop a fleet this size." "The colonies are even more vulnerable," Sora added. "Most of them have no military ships at all. They're completely defenseless." Jinwu looked up from his engineering station. "Captain, I've been thinking about the overload process. It's not something that can be done automatically. Someone would have to stay behind to manually trigger the final sequence. The explosion has to be timed perfectly, or some of their ships might escape." The weight of that statement settled on everyone. Not only would they all die, but someone would have to stay on the ship while the others tried to escape in the emergency pods. "How long would the overload process take?" Park asked. "About 10 minutes from start to finish. The first 7 minutes would be automated, but the final 3 minutes require manual control. Someone would need to monitor the energy levels and trigger the explosion at exactly the right moment." Hee-jin looked at the communications board. "Captain, our emergency pods have limited range and no hyperspace capability. Even if some of us escape the explosion, we'd be stranded out here." "Actually," Sora said, checking her navigation screens, "there's a shipping lane about 2 light days from here. If we launch the escape pods in the right direction, they might be found by a passing ship." Eventually might be too late," Taemin pointed out. "The escape pods only have life support for 72 hours. Park walked to the front of the bridge and stared out at the alien fleet. The ships hung in space like dark vultures, waiting to feast on human misery. Their perfect formation was meant to show their power and organization. Instead, it had become their weakness. "Jinwu, is there any way to make the explosion bigger? Any way to make sure we get all of them?" Jinwu worked at his controls for several minutes. "I could reroute power from all other systems into the core, life support, engines, everything. That might increase the blast radius to 18 or 20 kilometers. But once I start that process, we'd lose life support on most of the ship." "How long would we have?" "Maybe 15 minutes of breathable air in the bridge section, less in other areas." Admiral Kethvar appeared on the main screen again. His yellow eyes seemed to glow brighter with impatience. 10 minutes remain, humans. I have decided to board your ship early. My soldiers are already preparing their assault craft. You will surrender now, or we will take your ship by force. Park stepped forward. Admiral, I have a counter-proposal. You are in no position to make proposals, human. Release my ship and crew, and I'll give you the location of our main military base, Earth's primary defense station. The alien admiral leaned forward with interest. You would betray your own species? To save my crew, yes. Interesting. Where is this base? Park pretended to think for a moment. It's in the Alpha Centauri system, heavily armed space station with over 1,000 ships. Admiral Kethvar laughed. We already know about Alpha Centauri, human. Our scouts have been watching your colonies for years. There is no military base there. Then you know I was lying. Indeed, which tells me you are more loyal than intelligent. Prepare to be boarded. The screen went dark. Taemin looked at his watch. Captain, they weren't lying about launching assault craft. I'm reading 12 small ships heading our way from their fleet. How long before they reach us? About 8 minutes. Park turned to his crew one final time. Everyone understand what we're facing here. If we let them board our ship, we die. As slaves and millions of people on Earth die the same way. If we fight back the only way we can, we die here, but we might save everyone back home. Sora stood up from her navigation station. Captain, we all knew this was a dangerous mission. When we volunteered, we came out here to save lives with the medicine we're carrying. Maybe we can save even more lives this way. Jinwoo nodded. My sister lives on Earth, Captain. She has 2 little children. If there's a chance we can protect them... My whole family is on the Mars colony, Hyejin added. The colony has no defenses at all. These aliens would slaughter everyone there. Taemin walked over to stand beside Park. Captain, I've served with you for 5 years. You've always done the right thing, even when it was hard. I trust your judgment. Park felt a weight in his chest that had nothing to do with the ship's artificial gravity. These were good people who trusted him to lead them. Now, he was leading them to their deaths. Jinwoo, start the overload sequence. Remove all safety protocols and begin rerouting power from secondary systems. Yes, sir. Jinwoo's hands moved quickly over his controls. Overload sequence initiated. All safety systems disabled. Beginning power reroute. The lights on the bridge dimmed slightly as power was redirected to the quantum core. On Jinwoo's screen, energy levels began climbing toward dangerous levels. Sora, plot a course for the escape pods toward that shipping lane you mentioned. Program them for automatic launch in 7 minutes. Already done, Captain. Hyejin, send out a general distress call on all emergency frequencies. Include our location and what happened here. Maybe someone will find the information useful. Broadcasting. Now, Captain. Taemin, seal all sections of the ship except the bridge. I want to make sure those alien assault craft can't get to us before we finish this. Sealing now, sir. Park looked around the bridge one more time. The Soul's Pride was a good ship. It had carried food, medicine, and supplies to dozens of colonies over the years. Now it would carry something else, a message that humanity would not be conquered easily. 6 minutes until assault craft arrival, Taemin reported. 7 minutes until automatic pod launch, Sora added. 9 minutes until manual detonation sequence required, Jinwoo said quietly. Park sat down in his captain's chair. Then let's make these next few minutes count. Outside the ship, the alien assault craft grew closer, their crews eager to capture the humans alive for questioning. Behind them, The massive alien fleet waited in perfect formation, confident in their victory. None of them knew that they were flying toward their doom. The quantum core hummed louder now, a deep vibration that could be felt through the deck plates. Li Jinwu watched the energy readings climb higher on his screen, each number bringing them closer to the point of no return. Captain, the core. Temperature is rising faster than expected, Jinwu reported. I estimate we have about 12 minutes before critical overload, not 15. Captain Park nodded calmly. Noted. How are the escape pod preparations? Kim So-ra checked her navigation. Display. Pods are loaded with emergency supplies and programmed for automatic launch in 5 minutes. Each pod has enough food and water for 3 days, plus emergency beacons. The assault craft are 4 minutes away, Yoon Taemin added, monitoring the approaching alien ships. 12 small vessels, each carrying about 20 soldiers. Choi Hye-jin pressed her headphones closer to her ears. Captain, I'm picking up chatter from the assault teams. They're planning to take us alive for interrogation. They want to know everything about Earth's defenses and population centers. Park stood and walked to the center of the bridge. Everyone, gather around. We need to talk about what happens next. His crew left their stations and formed a circle around him. In the dim lighting, their faces looked older than their years. The weight of their decision showed in their eyes. We all know that someone has to stay behind to complete the manual detonation sequence, Park began. I'm the captain of this ship, so that responsibility falls to me. Captain, with respect, I disagree, Jinwu said. The manual sequence requires detailed knowledge of quantum core systems. As the chief engineer, I'm the most qualified to handle the final overload. Jinwu, you're 28 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. And you have a daughter back on Earth, Jinwu replied. She needs her father to come home. So-ra stepped forward. Actually, I should be the one to stay. I'm the navigator, so I know this ship's systems almost as well as Jinwu does. Plus, I don't have any family waiting for me. That's not true, Hye-jin said. Your brother works at the lunar station. He's my adopted brother, and he has his own family now. Taemin shook his head. This is my job. I'm security chief. My job is to protect this crew and this ship. If someone has to make the ultimate sacrifice, it should be me. Park looked at each of them. You're all brave, and I'm honored to serve with you. But this is my decision to make, and I've made it. I'm staying behind. Captain, Hye-jin said quietly, there's something else we need to consider. Someone should record a message about what happened here. If Earth is going to defend itself against these aliens, they need to know what they're facing. Good thinking. Jinwu, can you set up a recording system that will broadcast automatically after the explosion? I can program it into the emergency beacon system. The message will transmit on all frequencies for several hours after we're gone. 3 minutes until assault craft arrival, Taemin announced. Park walked back to his captain's chair and activated the ship's internal recording system. This is Captain Park Dae-ho of the human cargo vessel Soul's Pride. If you're hearing this message, my crew and I are dead, but we died fighting. He paused and looked at his crew, who had returned to their stations. We were carrying medical supplies to the outer colonies when we were surrounded by a fleet of alien warships. They call themselves the Vortan Hegemony. Over 200 ships, all heavily armed. The ship shook slightly as the first alien assault craft attached itself to the hull. The aliens demanded our surrender and told us they plan to invade human space within weeks. They intend to enslave our people and take our worlds. We could not allow this to happen. More thuds echoed through the ship as additional assault craft docked. Taemin watched his security monitors as alien soldiers began cutting through the outer airlocks. To anyone receiving this message, especially Earth Command, these aliens are not interested in peace or negotiation. They see us as nothing more than animals to be enslaved. They have conquered 47 other species and plan to do the same to us. 2 minutes until pod launch, Sora reported. Captain, Jinwoo called out. The aliens are through the first airlock. They'll reach the sealed sections in about 3 minutes. Park continued his recording. My crew consists of Navigator Kim Sora, Engineer Lee Jinwoo, Communications Officer Choi Hye-jin, and Security Chief Yoon Tae-min. They are the bravest people I have ever known. They chose to die here, rather than let these aliens threaten our home. The sound of cutting tools could be heard getting closer. The aliens were working their way through the ship's sealed sections faster than expected. The Vorton ships all use the same design and technology. They rely on dark matter propulsion and energy weapons. Their hulls appear to be made of an unknown metal alloy. They are overconfident and predictable. 1 minute until pod launch, Sora announced. Captain, Taemin said urgently. The aliens have broken through 2 more sections. They'll reach the bridge level in less than 2 minutes. Park looked at his crew one final time. Everyone get to the escape pods. That's an order. Sir, we're not leaving you, Jinwoo said firmly. You have to. Someone needs to survive to make sure this message gets out. Captain, Hye-jin said, her voice breaking slightly. It's been an honor serving with you. The honor has been mine. Sora stood up from her navigation station. 30 seconds until automatic pod launch. Go! Park shouted. All of you, go now! Reluctantly, his crew moved toward the emergency pod access. One by one, they climbed into the small escape vehicles that would carry them away from the ship. Jinwoo, last chance to come with us, Sora called from her pod. Jinwoo stood at his engineering station, his hands on the quantum core controls. Someone has to monitor the overload sequence. The timing has to be perfect or some of their ships might escape. Jinwoo! That's an order, Park yelled. Sorry, Captain. I can't follow that order. The escape pods launched automatically, shooting away from the Soul's Pride toward the distant shipping lane. Park watched them go on his screen, hoping they would make it to safety. Jinwoo, why didn't you go with them? Because this is my ship too, Captain, and my responsibility. Jinwoo's voice was calm and steady. Besides, you're right about your daughter needing her father. My sister has her children to take care of. She'll understand. The sound of alien soldiers breaking through the final sealed section reached the bridge. Park could hear them shouting orders in their harsh language. 8 minutes until manual detonation required, Jinwoo reported. Park completed his recorded message. To my daughter Minju, if you ever hear this, your father loves you more than all the stars in the sky. Be brave, be kind, and remember that some things are worth dying for. The bridge doors began to glow red hot as the aliens cut through them. To Earth Command, prepare for war. These aliens will not stop until they have conquered or destroyed us. Don't let our sacrifice be meaningless. Thy doors burst open and alien soldiers poured into the bridge. They were tall and gray-skinned, wearing black armor and carrying energy weapons. Their yellow eyes glowed with anger and frustration. Humans, you will come with us now, one of them said in broken human language. Park stood up slowly, keeping his hands visible. I don't think so. You have no choice. Admiral Kethvar wants to speak with you before you die. Tell your admiral that humans don't surrender. We don't negotiate with slavers and murderers. Jin Woo looked up from his station. Captain, 7 minutes to manual sequence. One of the alien soldiers pointed his weapon at Jin Woo. Step away from those controls, human. I don't think I will. Jin Woo replied calmly. Park looked at the alien soldier who seemed to be in charge. You made a mistake coming here. We made no mistake. You are outnumbered and outgunned. No, your mistake was thinking that humans are like the other species you've conquered. We're not. The soldier laughed. All species say they are different. All species think they are special. In the end, you all break the same way. Park smiled grimly. We'll see about that. The alien soldier leader stepped closer to Captain Park, his energy weapon pointed directly at the human's chest. Behind him, 12 more soldiers spread out across the bridge, their glowing yellow eyes scanning every corner for threats. You will order your engineer to step away from those controls immediately, the alien commander demanded. Park remained perfectly still. I gave him no such order. Then you will die first, and we will take the controls anyway. Go ahead, Park said, calmly. Shoot me. The alien hesitated, confused by the human's lack of fear. In his experience, captured species always begged for their lives at this point. Lee Jin-woo continued working at his engineering station, his fingers moving steadily over the quantum core controls. 6 minutes until manual sequence, Captain. What is he doing? The alien commander barked. Maintenance, Park replied casually. The quantum core requires constant monitoring. One of the other aliens moved toward Jin-woo's station, but the engineer didn't even look up. The deep humming from the core grew slightly louder, a sound that vibrated through the deck plates and into everyone's bones. Tell me what that sound is, the alien commander ordered. That's the sound of our reactor running normally, Park lied smoothly. The alien pulled out a small device and pointed it at Jin-woo's station. The device beeped rapidly and flashed red lights. This device detects dangerous energy levels. Your reactor is not operating normally. Your device must be broken, Jin-woo said without looking up from his controls. These readings are well within normal parameters for a human quantum core. The alien commander spoke rapidly into a communication device attached to his armor. After a moment, Admiral Kethvar's voice came through the speakers. Commander Vextar, what is the delay? Bring the humans to my ship immediately. Admiral, the humans claim their reactor is operating normally, but our sensors indicate dangerous energy levels. Then shut down their reactor and bring them aboard. Commander. Vextar looked at his soldiers. Destroy those controls. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Park said quietly. Why not? Because if you damage the quantum core controls while the reactor is active, the safety systems will fail. The core will explode and destroy everything within 20 kilometers. This was actually true. Park was counting on the aliens not knowing enough about human technology to call his bluff. You are lying, the commander said, but there was uncertainty in his voice. Are you willing to bet your life and the lives of 200 ships on that? Park asked. The commander hesitated. He spoke into his communicator again. Admiral, the humans claim that damaging their reactor controls will cause an explosion. Impossible. Their technology is primitive. Bring them to me now. Sir, what if they are telling the truth? Then we will test their claim. Destroy one control. Panel and see what happens. Commander Vextar aimed his weapon at a console near Jin-woo's station. Wait, Jin-woo said, finally looking up from his controls. That's the coolant system. If you destroy that, the core temperature will rise too quickly for the safety systems to compensate. 5 minutes until manual sequence, Jinwoo added quietly to Park. The alien commander paused again. Admiral, their engineer says destroying the coolant system will cause the reactor to overheat. Their engineer is trying to save his own life. Destroy the console. The commander raised his weapon, but before he could fire, Park stepped between him and the control panel. If you want to destroy that console, you'll have to shoot me first. I will gladly do so. Then you'll never get the information you came for. The alien lowered his weapon slightly. What information? The location of Earth's defense fleet. The real one, not the fake coordinates I gave your admiral earlier. This was another lie, but Park was betting that the aliens' greed for information would buy them more time. Commander Vextar spoke into his communicator. Admiral, the human captain claims to have information about Earth's military forces. Bring him to me immediately. The engineer as well. Sir, they refuse to leave their reactor controls. Then take the controls with you. Cut them out of the ship if necessary. That would definitely cause an explosion, Admiral. There was a long pause before the Admiral's voice came back through the communicator. Fine, I will come to you. Secure the bridge and wait for my arrival. The alien soldiers took positions around the bridge, their weapons trained on Park and Jinwoo. The two humans exchanged a quick glance. They needed to buy more time. Commander, Park said, while we're waiting for your admiral, perhaps you'd like to know why your species will never successfully conquer humanity. You are in no position to make threats, human. I'm not making threats. I'm making observations. Park walked slowly to the front window, which showed the massive alien fleet surrounding them. You see all those ships out there? That perfect formation? It demonstrates our superior discipline and organization. Actually, it demonstrates your biggest weakness. The commander stepped closer. Explain. Every one of your ships is identical. Same design, same weapons, same capabilities. You fight the same way every time because you can't think of any other way to fight. Our methods have conquered 47 species. Yes, species that were probably just like you. Rigid, predictable, unable to adapt. Park turned to face the alien. But humans are different. We're chaotic, unpredictable, and we specialize in doing the impossible. 4 minutes until manual. Sequence, Jinwoo announced. The alien commander looked nervously at the engineering station. What does he mean by manual sequence? Routine maintenance, Park replied. We have to manually adjust the core parameters every few minutes. Your admiral should be here soon, the commander said, more to himself than to Park. Tell me something, Commander. How many of the species you conquered fought back? All of them fought initially. None succeeded. How did they fight? Ship against ship. Fleet against fleet, standard combat tactics. Park nodded. Exactly. They fought the way you expected them to fight. They played by your rules. What other way is there to fight? That's the difference between humans and everyone else you've conquered. We don't play by anyone's rules but our own. The commander was about to respond when Admiral Kethvar's voice came through the communicator. I am docking with your ship. Now, escort the humans to the main airlock. Sir, they still refuse to leave their reactor controls. Then I will come to them. 3 minutes until manual sequence, Jinwoo said, his voice steady despite the sweat on his forehead. Park looked at his engineer. Jinwoo, are you ready for this? Yes, Captain. Ready for what? Commander Vextar demanded. Ready to show you what humans do when you corner us, Park replied. The bridge doors opened and Admiral Kethvar entered, flanked by more soldiers. The alien admiral was even more imposing in person, standing nearly 3 meters tall with his 4 arms and glowing yellow eyes. Human captain, you have wasted enough of my time. Admiral, I have something to tell you about humans that you need to understand. I understand everything I need to know about your species. No, you don't. You think we're like all the other species you've conquered. Weak, scared, willing to surrender to save our own lives. Are you not? Park smiled. When you corner a human, when you threaten everything we care about, we don't surrender. We don't beg for mercy. We don't try to negotiate. Then what do you do? 2 minutes until manual sequence, Jin Woo announced. Park looked directly into the Admiral's glowing eyes. We take you with us. Suddenly, Admiral Kethvar understood what was happening. His yellow eyes widened as he realized the truth about the energy readings his sensors had been detecting. Stop him! The Admiral screamed, pointing at Jin Woo. But it was too late. Jin Woo's hand was already moving toward the final control sequence. This is for Earth, Jin Woo said quietly. And for everyone these monsters would have enslaved, Park added. The quantum core's humming grew louder, building toward its inevitable climax. Admiral Kethvar's 4 arms moved faster than any human could follow. 2 reached for weapons while the other 2 gestured frantically at his soldiers. Kill them both! Now! Energy beams filled the bridge as the alien soldiers opened fire. But Captain Park had already thrown himself in front of Lee Jin-woo, taking the first shots in his chest and shoulder. He fell backward against the engineering console, his body shielding Jin-woo's hands as they worked the final control sequence. 1 minute until manual sequence! Jin-woo shouted over the weapon's fire. Park felt his strength leaving him as alien energy burned through his body. But he held his position, protecting Jin-woo from the soldiers who were trying to get a clear shot at the engineer. Stop shooting! Admiral Kethvar screamed. If you damage those controls, we all die! The weapon's fire stopped, but it was too late. Park was badly wounded, his breathing shallow and painful. Jin-woo's hands never stopped moving over the quantum core controls. Human, the Admiral said, his voice deadly quiet. Order your engineer to stop what he is doing, and I will give you medical treatment. You can still live. Park laughed, a sound mixed with pain and triumph. You still don't understand, do you? Understand what? Humans don't want to just live. We want to live for something. Park coughed up blood but continued speaking. My engineer isn't trying to save his own life. He's trying to save billions of other lives. 30 seconds, Jin-woo announced. Admiral Kethvar pulled out his personal weapon, a massive energy cannon that could vaporize a human instantly. Step away from those controls or I will kill you both. You're going to kill us anyway, Jin-woo replied calmly. At least this way, we take you with us. You are destroying yourselves for nothing. Your species will still fall to our empire, Park. Managed to push himself up slightly, looking directly at the alien admiral. Maybe, but you won't be there to see it. 20 seconds. The admiral turned to his soldiers. Can any of you operate their controls? No, sir. The human technology is completely unfamiliar. Then grab the engineer and pull him away. 2 soldiers moved toward Jin-woo, but Park used his last strength to grab one of them by the leg. Hidao, alien kicked him away, but the delay was enough. 10 seconds! Jin-woo called out. Human engineer? The admiral said desperately. What do you want? Money? Power? We can give you anything. Jinwoo looked up from his controls for the first time since the aliens had boarded. His face was calm and determined. "I want my niece and nephew to grow up free. I want Earth to stay human. I want your empire to learn that some species can't be conquered." 5 seconds! Admiral Kethvar raised his weapon toward Jinwoo, but Park used his last breath to speak. "Jinwoo, tell them what Captain Park Daeho's final order was." Jinwoo's hand hovered over the final control. "The captain's final order was to make sure every human ship knows what happened here, to make sure Earth knows that the Vortan hegemony can be beaten." 2 seconds! You cannot broadcast anything. We are jamming all your communications. Jinwoo smiled. "You're jamming radio communications. This message is built into the quantum explosion itself. It will be visible to every sensor in 3-star systems." 1 second! "Wait!" the Admiral screamed. But Jinwoo had already triggered the final sequence. "This is for Soul's pride. This is for Earth. This is for humanity." The quantum core's energy levels spiked beyond all safety limits. Deep in the ship's reactor room, exotic matter began to break down into pure energy. The reaction built on itself, growing stronger and brighter with each passing moment. On his engineering console, Jinwoo watched the energy readings climb past the red line, past the emergency levels, past anything the ship was designed to handle. The core temperature reached levels that existed only in the hearts of stars. Admiral Kethvar and his soldiers had exactly 3 seconds to realize what was happening. In that brief moment, the Admiral understood that his perfect military formation had become a perfect target. His 200 ships, arranged in their precise sphere, were all within the blast radius of the human ship they had surrounded. "All ships, emergency retreat!" the Admiral screamed into his communicator. But it was too late. The laws of physics don't care about military ranks or alien empires. The quantum core reached critical mass. For one brilliant instant, the Soul's pride became a miniature star. The explosion started at the ship's center and expanded outward at a significant fraction of the speed of light. The blast wave vaporized matter at the atomic level, turning metal, flesh, and anything else it touched into pure energy. The explosion was visible across 3 star systems. On planets dozens of light-years away, astronomers detected the sudden appearance of a new star that burned brighter than their suns for exactly 17 seconds before fading away. The Vortan fleet had no time to escape. Their perfect formation meant that every ship was exactly where the explosion could reach them. 200 warships, each one capable of destroying a planet, were reduced to glowing atoms in less than a second. Admiral Kethvar's last thought was a realization that would have changed his entire species' approach to conquest, if he had lived to share it. Humans were not like any other species his empire had encountered. When humans faced extinction, they didn't just fight for their own lives. They fought for the future of everyone they had never met. The explosion reached its maximum radius and began to fade. Where the Soul's pride and the Vortan fleet had been, there was now only empty space and a fading cloud of superheated gas that would be visible for years to come. But the explosion had done more than destroy ships. The quantum reaction had created a subspace shockwave that would carry information about what happened here to every ship and station within range. The message Captain Park had recorded, the tactical data about Vortan ships, and the proof that the Empire could be defeated would reach human space within days. 3 escape pods tumbled through space 2 light days away, their emergency beacons flashing steadily. Inside the pods, Kim So-ra, Choi Hye-jin, and Yoon Tae-min watched the distant flash of light that marked the end of their ship and their friends. "Did we do the right thing?" Hyejin asked quietly. Sora looked at the fading light where Soul's pride had been. "Captain Park and Jin Woo saved billions of lives today. Yes, we did the right thing." "Will anyone find us out here?" Taemin wondered. "Someone will," Sora said with conviction. "And when they do, we'll make sure the whole galaxy knows what happened here. We'll make sure everyone knows that Captain Park Dae-ho and Engineer Lee Jin-woo died heroes." In the distance, their emergency beacons continued transmitting, carrying not just a call for rescue, but the story of 5 humans who chose to fight against impossible odds rather than let evil win. The Vortan hegemony had learned a lesson they would never be able to teach to anyone else. When you corner humanity, you don't get prisoners. You get a war. The merchant vessel Lucky Star was 3 days into a routine cargo run when their sensors detected the emergency beacons. Captain Williams, a gruff trader who had been hauling freight between human colonies for 15 years, almost ignored the signals. Emergency beacons usually meant trouble, and trouble was bad for business. But something about these particular signals made him pause. They were broadcasting on old Earth military frequencies, codes that hadn't been used in over a decade. "Chang, bring us about," Williams ordered his navigator. "We're going to investigate those beacons." "Captain, that'll put us 2 days behind schedule," Navigator Chang replied. "I know. Do it anyway." 6 hours later, the Lucky Star recovered 3 escape pods from the empty space between star systems. The survivors were weak from 3 days of limited life support, but they were alive. Kim So-ra was the first to speak after being brought aboard. "Captain, we need to contact Earth Command immediately. This is a matter of planetary security." "Easy there, miss," Captain Williams said gently. "You've been through hell. Let's get you some food and medical attention first." "No, you don't understand," Choi Hyejin interrupted, her voice urgent despite her exhaustion. "The Vortan hegemony is planning to invade human space. We have intelligence that Earth Command needs to see." Yoon Tae-min struggled to sit up on the medical table. "Captain Williams, how long ago did our ship explode? Did you detect the quantum signature?" Williams looked confused. "What explosion? We picked up your emergency beacons, but we didn't detect any explosions." "It was 3 days ago," So-ra said. "The Soul's Pride overloaded its quantum core and destroyed an entire alien fleet. Lady, with all due respect, if a quantum core exploded anywhere in this system, every ship and station within 50 light years would have detected it. Our sensors show nothing." The 3 survivors exchanged glances. So-ra pulled out a small data recorder from her survival pack. "Captain, this contains everything we recorded about the alien fleet. Their ship designs, weapon capabilities, and their plans to attack human colonies." Williams looked at the device skeptically. "What exactly are you claiming happened out there, for Bay?" The next hour, the survivors told their story. They explained about the medical mission, the alien fleet, and the sacrifice of Captain Park and Engineer Jin Woo. Williams listened with growing amazement and concern. "You're telling me that 2 men destroyed over 200 warships by overloading their reactor?" "That's exactly what we're telling you," Taemin confirmed. Williams shook his head. "If this is true, why didn't we detect the explosion?" "The blast radius was about 20 kilometers, So-ra explained. "In the vastness of space, that's like a flashlight in a dark room. Unless you were looking directly at it or very close by, you might miss it." "But the subspace shockwave should have carried the information to every human settlement by now," Hyejin added. Williams activated his communication system. Chang, contact the nearest Earth command station. Tell them we have survivors with critical intelligence about a potential alien threat. It took 18 hours for the Lucky Star to reach the Outer Rim communication station at Titan Base. When they docked, the survivors were immediately taken to a secure briefing room where they met Commander Sarah Chen, the station's intelligence officer. "I've reviewed your initial report," Commander Chen said as she entered the room. "Before we proceed, I need to tell you something. 3 days ago, our deep space sensors detected an unusual energy signature in the Kepler 442 system. The signature was consistent with a massive quantum explosion." The survivors looked at each other with a mixture of relief and sadness. Their friend's sacrifice had been detected after all. "Commander, did the message get through?" Sora asked. "The one Captain Park recorded?" "We detected fragmented transmissions, but the signal was badly distorted. Your testimony is the first clear intelligence we've received about what actually happened." Over the next 6 hours, the survivors provided detailed accounts of their encounter with the Vortan hegemony. They shared the tactical data they had gathered, the aliens' invasion timeline, and most importantly, proof that the alien fleet could be defeated. Commander Chen grew more concerned with each detail. "According to your report, the aliens were specifically targeting human shipping routes. This wasn't a random encounter." "That's correct," He-Jin confirmed. "They've been studying us for months, preparing for a full-scale invasion." "What's our current defensive posture?" Tae-min asked. Commander Chen's expression was grim. "Minimal. We have patrol ships scattered across dozens of systems, but nothing that could stop a coordinated attack by a fleet the size you described." "But we know they can be beaten," Sora said firmly. "Captain Park and Jinwoo proved that." "By sacrificing themselves and their ship," Chen pointed out. "Sometimes that's what it takes." Within hours, the survivors' testimony was transmitted to Earth Command Headquarters. By the next day, it had reached every human colony and military outpost in known space. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Earth's President Morrison called an emergency session of the Colonial Council. Military leaders who had spent years arguing about budget cuts suddenly found themselves planning the largest military mobilization in human history. The survivors were brought to Earth to testify before the full council. Standing in the great assembly hall where representatives from 50 human worlds gathered, Sora felt the weight of her responsibility. "Honorable representatives," she began, "Captain Park Dae-ho asked me to deliver a message if I survived. He said to tell you that humans don't surrender. We don't yield. And we remember our heroes." The hall was silent as she continued. "The Vortan hegemony thinks we're weak because we haven't conquered other species. They think we're primitive because we value life over power. They're wrong about both things." He-Jin stepped forward. "We've analyzed their communications and ship designs. They're powerful, but they're not invincible. They rely on overwhelming force and intimidation. They've never faced an enemy that fought back the way humans fight back." Tae-min addressed the military representatives directly. "Their ships are identical, their tactics are predictable, and their formation flying is rigid. These are advantages we can exploit." The vote was unanimous. Every human world committed ships, resources, and personnel to a unified defense fleet. Shipyards that had been building cargo vessels and passenger liners were converted to military production. Mining colonies doubled their output to provide raw materials. Agricultural worlds increased food production to supply the growing fleet. But most importantly, the story of the soul's pride spread throughout human space. Captain Park Dae-ho and engineer Lee Jin-woo became household names. Their sacrifice inspired millions of humans to volunteer for military service. The three survivors found themselves at the center of the mobilization effort. Sora was promoted to admiral and put in charge of fleet navigation systems. Hyejin became the head of alien communications analysis. Tae-min was assigned to train boarding parties in anti-alien combat tactics. 6 months after the destruction of the Soul's Pride, the human fleet was ready. 300 warships, built with reverse-engineered alien technology and improved by human ingenuity, gathered at the staging point near Alpha Centauri. Admiral Sora stood on the bridge of the flagship Earth's Revenge, looking out at the assembled fleet. Each ship carried a piece of hull plating from the Soul's Pride's wreckage recovered from the explosion site. It was a reminder of why they were fighting. All ships report ready for hyperspace jump, her communications officer reported. Signal the fleet, Sora ordered. This is Admiral Kim Sora speaking. 6 months ago, 5 humans died to prevent an alien invasion of our worlds. Today we go to finish what they started. She paused, remembering her friends and Captain. Captain Park once told me that humans don't play by anyone's rules but our own. Today we're going to teach the Vortan hegemony what that means. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying 300 ships full of angry humans toward the Vortan home system. The aliens had taught humanity a valuable lesson. When you threaten everything humans care about, you don't get to choose how they respond. You only get to face the consequences. The Vortan home system had been the center of their empire for over 1,000 years. 3 heavily defended planets orbited a red giant star, surrounded by hundreds of space stations, defense platforms, and patrol ships. No enemy had ever reached this system. The Vortans believed it was impossible. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Kim Sora stood on the bridge of the Earth's Revenge as the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Vortan system. 300 human warships appeared simultaneously, their hulls gleaming with new armor and weapons built from alien technology. Admiral, we're detecting massive defensive formations, reported Commander Park Min-ho, the fleet's tactical officer. Over 500 Vortan ships between us and their home planets. Just like the formation that surrounded the Soul's Pride, Sora observed. They never learn. On the main screen, Choi Hyejin appeared from the communications ship. Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from the Vortan fleet. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Put them through. The screen changed to show the bridge of a massive Vortan command ship. An alien admiral with scarred gray skin and blazing yellow eyes stared at them with obvious contempt. Human ships, you are trespassing in Vortan space. Surrender immediately, and your deaths will be swift. Sora stepped forward. I am Admiral Kim Sora of the Human Defense Fleet. 6 months ago, your empire murdered Captain Park Dae-ho and Engineer Lee Jin-woo when they destroyed Admiral Kethvar's invasion fleet. The alien admiral's eyes narrowed. Kethvar was a fool who underestimated primitive species. I am Admiral Zorketh, and I do not make such mistakes. You already have. Sora replied calmly. Explain. You assumed we came here to surrender or negotiate. We didn't. Sora's voice hardened. We came here to end your empire's expansion toward human space. Permanently. Admiral Zorketh laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across the communication channel. You bring 300 ships against 500. Your mathematics are as primitive as your technology. Actually, our mathematics are quite advanced, Sora said. For example, we calculated exactly how many ships we needed to destroy your entire fleet while minimizing our own losses. Impossible. We have superior numbers and position. Sora smiled coldly. Your mistake is thinking this is a conventional battle. Humans don't fight conventional battles. She turned to her tactical officer. Commander Park, implement the Soul's Pride Protocol. Yes, Admiral. All ships, execute Protocol Soul's Pride on my mark. Across the human fleet, captains received their orders. This wasn't going to be a typical space battle with ships trading fire across vast distances. The humans had studied the alien tactics for 6 months and designed a completely different approach. Human fleet. You will approach and surrender for processing, Admiral Zorketh commanded. We'll approach, Sora agreed, but not to surrender. The human fleet began moving toward the Vortan defensive line, but not in any formation the aliens recognized. Instead of maintaining neat rows like traditional fleets, the human ships spread out in seemingly random patterns, moving at different speeds and angles. What is their formation? Zorketh demanded of his tactical officers. Unknown, Admiral. It appears chaotic and undisciplined. Humans are incapable of proper military formation. Attack when they reach optimal range. As the human fleet approached, the Vortans prepared their standard tactics. They would use their superior numbers to surround portions of the human fleet and destroy them piece by piece. But when the human ships reached combat range, they didn't slow down or form battle lines. Instead, they accelerated. Admiral, Commander. Park reported to Sora, all ships report ready for close quarters engagement. Execute. What happened next was unlike any space battle in galactic history. The human ships dove directly into the Vortan formation, using their superior speed and maneuverability to get inside the aliens' defensive perimeter. The Vortans had trained for centuries to fight at long range, where their heavy weapons and thick armor gave them advantages. But the humans brought the fight close, where quick thinking and adaptability mattered more than raw firepower. Human ships darted between the larger Vortan vessels like fighters attacking bombers. They targeted engines, weapon systems, and command centers with precise strikes. When Vortan ships tried to turn to follow them, they found human vessels attacking from completely different directions. "This is impossible!" Admiral Zorketh screamed, as human ships seemed to appear everywhere at once. "How are they moving so fast?" His tactical officer consulted his instruments frantically. "Admiral, they've modified their ships. They've removed most of their armor and cargo space to make room for more engines and maneuvering thrusters. Then they should be easy to destroy. Sir, we can't hit them. They're too fast and too unpredictable." Indeed, the human strategy was working perfectly. While the Vortan ships were built like flying fortresses, slow and powerful, the human ships had been redesigned as interceptors. They couldn't take much damage, but they were almost impossible to hit. And they were hitting back hard. Human weapons, reverse-engineered from captured Vortan technology but improved with human innovation, proved devastatingly effective. They had studied the alien ships for months, learning every weakness and vulnerability. "Admiral Sora," Hyojin reported from her ship, "I'm detecting panic in their communications. They're requesting reinforcements from all 3 planets." "How long until reinforcements arrive?" "Approximately 1 hour. More than enough time," Sora replied. She opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Sora. 6 months ago, Captain Park Daeho recorded a message before he died. I want to share part of it with you now." Across the fleet, human crews listened, as their admiral's voice carried the words of their fallen hero. Captain Park said that humans don't surrender, we don't yield, and we remember our heroes. Today, we show the galaxy what that means. The battle intensified. Human ships continued their devastating close-range attacks while avoiding the Vortans. Return fire. Ship after ship in the alien fleet suffered critical damage as human weapons found their marks. Admiral Zorketh watched his fleet being systematically destroyed by an enemy that refused to fight by established rules. All ships, ram the human vessels. If we cannot outmaneuver them, we will crush them. But even this desperate tactic failed. The human ships were too fast and their pilots too skilled. When Vortan's ships tried to ram them, the humans simply moved out of the way and attacked the aliens' now exposed flanks. "Admiral," Zorketh's communications officer reported, "we've lost over 200 ships. The humans have lost less than 30. This is impossible. No species fights like this. Sir, incoming message from the human flagship. Admiral Sora," appeared on Zorketh's screen again. Behind her, the bridge of the Earth's Revenge was calm and orderly, a stark contrast to the chaos on the Vortan command ship. "Admiral Zorketh, I'm broadcasting this message on all frequencies so your entire empire can hear it. This is what happens when you threaten humanity." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "We didn't come here for territory or slaves or tribute. We came here because you killed our people and planned to kill more. We came here to make sure you never threaten humanity again." "You cannot destroy our entire empire," Zorketh protested. "We're not going to destroy your empire," Sora replied. "We're going to do something worse. We're going to leave you alive so you can tell every species in the galaxy what happened here." The human fleet's attacks became even more precise. Instead of destroying Vortan ships outright, they began targeting specific systems. Weapons were disabled, engines were crippled, and communication arrays were damaged, but not destroyed. "What are they doing?" Zorketh demanded. His tactical officer checked the reports. "Admiral, they're disabling our ships rather than destroying them. They want survivors." Within 2 hours, the Vortan fleet was completely defeated. Over 400 ships hung dead in space, their crews alive but their vessels powerless. The human fleet had lost only 43 ships. Admiral Sora opened a final communication to the defeated Vortan fleet. This message goes out to every world in your empire. 6 months ago, you surrounded one human cargo ship with 200 warships. That ship was carrying medicine to save lives. Its crew chose to die rather than let you continue your evil. The camera panned to show Captain Park's recorded message playing on screens throughout the human fleet. "Today, we brought 300 ships to your home system. We defeated 500 of your best warships in 2 hours. This is the difference between a species that conquers through fear and a species that fights for freedom." Sora's expression hardened. "Any Vortan ship that approaches human space will be destroyed. Any Vortan fleet that threatens human colonies will be hunted down and eliminated. Any species you are currently oppressing is now under human protection." She paused to let that sink in. "The age of Vortan expansion is over. You will release every enslaved species in your empire. You will return to your home worlds and never venture into human space again. And you will remember the names Park Dae-ho and Lee Jin-woo because their sacrifice saved not just humanity, but every species you would have conquered." Admiral Zorketh stared at the screen in defeat. His empire, which had dominated this region of space for centuries, had been humbled.